Now, for the most awaiting session of the day, which is the last keynote session on leadership style. So we have Alyque Padamsee. Alyque Padamsee is a versatile, genius, and multifaceted personality. He is the father of modern Indian advertising industry and also been conferred with Padma Shri Award by Government of India. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure and honor to invite Alyque Padamsee onto the stage.
News for you, and I have some bad news for you today. It reminds me of a little story told to me by Richard Attenborough when we were shooting the film Gandhi. Can everyone at the back hear me? Yes? Raise your hands if you can hear me. Yeah, good. Okay. And we were having a drink after a day shooting. I was playing Muhammad Ali Jinnah, you probably know, in the film Gandhi. And Richard said, have you heard that story about the doctor? And the good news and the bad news he had to tell his patient. I said, no, I haven't heard it. So he said, it goes like this. See, the doctor phoned up his patient one day. And he said, Mr. Shah, I've just had a look at your x-rays, Mr. Shah, and I have some good news for you, Mr. Shah, and I have some bad news for you. Which would you like to hear first? Mr. Shah said, good news, bad news, good news, bad news. No, doctor, I would like to hear the good news. The good news first, please. I said, the good news is, Mr. Shah, that I've had a look at your x-rays, and I have to inform you that you have 24 hours to live. He said, that's the good news, doctor. My God, whoa, what's the bad news, doctor? So the bad news, you see, well, the bad news, how shall I tell you this? It's a little difficult for me to tell you that the bad news is I was supposed to phone you yesterday. So what's the good news and the bad news about our country, our wonderful country? The good news first. The good news is that as we sit here in this hall, 50% of the population of India, which is over 1 billion, as you know, is under the age of 25. We are a very, very young country. Anyone here under the age of 25? Okay, so that means we've got youth on our side. What's the bad news? Oh, the bad news is that until recently, 50% of our netas, the people who rule us, 50% of our netas were over the age of 70. So how can you expect progress when you have a young country and you have old leaders? They're thinking old, they're thinking, you know, the time of independence and so on. No, forget that. Today, things are changing, we hope. अच्छे दिन आ गए कि नहीं? We've got to see now. Huh? Okay, let's see. Okay, I'm going to talk about dynamic leadership and innovative communication. So that's the slide, right? What is it? What is it? What is? Let me give you an example. I'm a theatre man, basically, though they call me an advertising guru and all sorts of things. But basically, I'm a theatre man. And William Shakespeare was the greatest playwright the world has ever seen. And he lived 500 years ago, but he said what he knew about. And I'm going to give you a quiz now, okay? Let's see. William Shakespeare, King Lear. King Lear was an old man who wanted to retire, but they wouldn't let him retire. They wouldn't let him retire. Instead, and that was his last term, remember? 2000 was the time he was going to, he'd already served 8 years as president. He said, you may want to visit on a holiday. Good to have a driving license. He said, okay, he laughed. Clinton has a lovely laugh. And he sat down, coffee came, he was drinking his coffee. But while he was drinking his coffee, Chandra Babu told him, there's a computer there, and if you'd like a driving license, just type in the necessary things, your name, your father's name, your driving license in America. And he did all that very fast. And then the coffee came, he said, just press send. He pressed send, they were drinking coffee and talking and chatting. And the computer, when the message came in, made ping. So he said, have a look. He had a look. Huh? There was his driving license. So I told Chandrababu, just tell him, print it. So he printed it, came out, and then I'd given Chandrababu Naidu a stapler. So he took it, folded it nicely, neatly, and stapled it. Said, here's your driving license, Indian driving license, Mr. President. You can ride anywhere in India. Just go out of that door, get into a car, drive wherever you like. Clinton said, in 10 minutes you gave me a driving license. Is it because I'm president? He said, no, anyone can get it. Clinton then said, oh my God, I must go and address the CII. Okay, all the businessmen. Who was there? Mukesh Ambani, Ratan Tata, Adi Godrej, Anand Mahindra, everyone was there. I went in, went up on the stage, and the first thing he did, he said, good afternoon, gentlemen. See what I've got? And he waved this up in his hand like that. He said, I have my Indian driving license, and thanks to e-governance, I got it in just 10 minutes. And of course, everyone clap, 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 clap. Okay, then he went on to give a brilliant speech. And then Chandrababu said, oh, it worked, wonderful, thank you, Mr. Padamsee. And we forgot about it. He went, he was very impressed by Andhra because of that. Showed him, of course, all the other things that Chandrababu was doing, but that was the door opener. And you all know in your projects, you have to say something that makes the other person interested. It can be a human thing, it can be a techno thing, it can be anything, but it has to be interesting. You can't tell him something he already knows. It has to be something he doesn't know. That's innovation. About a week later, my secretary said, sir, this has come from you, from Chandrababu Naidu's office. I said, oh, very good. It was a kind of a package. I opened it. Inside was a Japanese newspaper. I said, why is he sending me? I can't read Japanese. So I opened it, and there was a picture on the front page of this Japanese newspaper. It was all in Japanese. And the picture showed Bill Clinton in Japan addressing the Japanese Diet. It's called the Diet, D-I-E-T, the parliament. And he's waving what? The Indian driving license. It was amazing. And then he started talking. I've been to India. I thought India was backward, but it's not. On IT, they're ahead of the world. In fact, I was told by Chandrababu Naidu that 35% of Silicon Valley startups are all owned by Indians. 35% of Silicon Valley. So that made a big impression. I'm saying a leader must have vision. And e-governance was something that Chandrababu Naidu certainly had. And the McKinsey report, 2020. What other things does a leader need? Okay, next slide. Charisma. You might have heard of this before, charisma. I've met two people in my life who had tremendous charisma. Charisma is really a personality at a very high degree. And I met many, many people. I met Prince Charles and Diana, his wife. I met Indira Gandhi, and I met Richard Attenborough, who's also very charismatic. But I met two that really impressed me. One was Osho, what they call Bhagwan Rajneesh. I sat in on two of his lectures when he was alive, and it was amazing because he came into the room and he just looked around the room from left to right, I remember. I was sitting somewhere on the right, and he just looked at us all with a small smile, didn't say a word, just looked and smiled. And when he came to me, and I saw his eyes, I got like electric shock, I got a jhatka, really. So after the talk, which was 2 hours long, and he entertained us completely, great sense of humor, he knew every philosopher in the world. And I said to my friend who was sitting next to me, I said, when Osho looked at you, what happened? He said, it was amazing. I got like an electric shock. I said, really, you also? That is charisma. When somebody comes into a room and you say, who's that? Doesn't have to be a movie star. He can be an ordinary person. But there's something that you're in your genes, in your DNA. That was one. And the second one, of course, was Bill Clinton, whom I met personally. And he, of course, he had great advantage. He's built huge. He's about 6'2". He's built like one of these American football heroes. You know, those big guys. He's very big. He's got a very pink face. Very, very pink. Not just white, it's pink. And he's got these blue eyes. And he's got this fabulous laugh. And he talks very well. And he has charisma. So charisma is a very, very important thing. You have to have a vibrant personality, because if you want to impress people, if you want people to listen to you and not take their eyes off you and look at you all the time, they're looking at you, you have to have charisma. It's something you develop. Again, you're not born with it, but you do develop it. Some people do and some people don't. But I know one person who certainly does. Next slide. Who else? Amitabh Bachchan, right? He has charisma, right? Yeah. He has charisma, and I'll tell you why I say he has charisma. Yeah, he was a great film star. 30 years, he ruled the Bollywood screens, you know. Every film of his was a hit. But that's not why I say he's got charisma. Then he tried to go into business, and he failed. He started ABCL, right? But it failed. And then he was asked to go on to KBC. And today he's still on KBC, and he's still mesmerizing us. And that's a man who's able to turn from a hero who was Dishum all the time, and today he is our Chacha Amitabh Bachchan. So smooth, smiling, patting people on the back, greeting them, always so friendly and wonderful, 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 giving such good advice. Now that's a man with real charisma. Okay? All right, what's the next quality you need to be a leader? Anyone want to guess? Sir, would you like to guess? What's the next quality you need? Any quality, say anything in your mind.
Articulation or communication?
Communication is a good one, yes. What about you, sir? He said communication, and we've already covered charisma, and we've covered
Vision.
yeah, vision we've covered. Anything else that you think makes a good leader? Bolo? Sorry. What about you, sir? Anything that makes a good leader, tell me.
Sir. Good object.
Good, yeah, okay. Good goals, you mean? Goals, objectives, okay? Yes. But that's part of vision, yeah. Yes, sir? He should be bold, yes. Yes, that's, you're practically on it. So the next one, next slide please. Courage. You know, leaders cannot always please the people. Sometimes they've got to be saying it's good for us, and you may not think I'm very popular because I'm saying this, but it's good for the nation. And that requires risking being unpopular. A good leader must risk being unpopular. How's that? Amazing, huh? And who better than that to do that was a lady I knew. She became Prime Minister, and the first thing she did was nationalized the banks in India, which everyone was against. All the businessmen shouted at her and said, how can you nationalize? I own this bank, you've nationalized it. And someone said, yes, you know, all the money is now going to be in government hands. That's not right. She went ahead and did it. And the other thing she did was, as you all know, when Pakistan declared war on the east wing of Pakistan, at that time it was called East Pakistan, right? West Pakistan, East Pakistan, you will remember that, sir, huh? Many years ago. And then, no, but it wasn't Bangladesh then. Then she joined East Pakistan, the Bengalis, against the Punjabis who were West Pakistan, and she fought a war which in the end created Bangladesh. And she became very unpopular with several people, including America, because they wanted Pakistan as one unit, and she divided it, or she helped to divide it into two. She became very unpopular. She had courage to do that, yes? And then, the most courage she had when Bhindranwale, I don't know how many of you will know that name, who decided to make a separate country called, anyone? Khalistan. And he had a lot of people, and there was a lot of, I mean, people talk today of terrorism, but believe you me, at the Khalistan time there was a lot of terrorism. They would stop a bus, separate all the people, and keep the Muslims on one side, keep the Christians on one side, keep whoever was there, the Buddhists on one side, and take out all the Hindus and shoot them. Punjabis would shoot Hindus. Because they wanted Khalistan. They want everyone to say, we want Khalistan, and we will not stop our terrorism till that time. No, don't worry, yeah. And Indira Gandhi said, this is too much, go after him. Go after Bhindranwale. She told the army. And then Bhindranwale escaped and hid in the Golden Temple, the sacred place of Sikhs. And he hid there, and everyone said, we can't go into the Golden Temple, it's a holy place. She thought about it and she said, no, if a villain, if the devil hides in a church or a masjid or a mandir or a gurdwara, if a devil hides there, we must pull him out. So she sent her troops into the Golden Temple. They dragged out Bhindranwale. He was executed later on. And that was courage, because everyone was against it. And in the end, of course, she was assassinated by her own bodyguards. But that took courage. Whatever you may say, you may agree with her, you may disagree. But it took courage. And I tell you, you can't be a good leader unless you're willing to be. And strangely enough, the other woman who had a lot of courage, for those who know their English history, was Margaret Thatcher, who said the unions are ruining England and I'm going to stop them. And she did. And the whole idea of England changed completely. But she was very, very, very unpopular. She was called the Iron Lady. The Iron Lady. But she had courage. The next quality I'd like you to study is, next one please, empathy. Empathy, what does empathy really mean? Let me ask someone at the back over there. I'm only concentrating on people in the front. The people at the back are feeling neglected. Yeah. What does empathy mean? Empathy, empathy, empathy. What is the meaning of empathy? Yes, sir. Tell me.
Empathy is helping someone without getting involved emotionally.
Yes, putting yourself, who says that? Yes, putting yourself in other people's shoes. Understanding that people have hearts as well as minds. Telling them we lower the taxes makes their mind very interested. But telling them that we should help the Bengalis and establish a Bangladesh is quite something else. But I'm not talking about Indira Gandhi. She did it politically. But there was one woman in India who in a sense was known as Mother India, though she wasn't. She came from a European country called Romania. And next slide. Mother Teresa. Mother Teresa, a lot of people misunderstood Mother Teresa. A lot of Indians thought that Mother Teresa was converting Indians into Christians. Like all the missionaries were doing. They were doing it, but not Mother Teresa. She had a different mission. And her mission was very, very unheard of. Unheard of. And that was, I want to show you a little film now to tell you about what the real Mother Teresa was. It was not conversion, but I'll show you this little film. So if we are ready with the film, yeah? Hello? Roger, are we ready? Lights out, and let's see a film, short film, 30 seconds on Mother Teresa. Lights off, lights off.
The dying need their dignity. Thank you, Mother Teresa.
Mother Teresa, lights on, lights on. Mother Teresa used to take dying people on the streets of Calcutta and all over and bring them to her house called Asha Dan, hope. Yeah? And she would look after them. She knew they were dying. She knew there was no hope of them. They were incurable diseases. But she said, I would like to give the dying their dignity. Why should they die in the gutter when they can die in a proper hospital death? And with my sisters of charity, her nuns were called sisters of charity, helping them in the last few days, maybe weeks, maybe months, maybe years of their life. Huh? So the commentary says, the dying need their dignity. Thank you, Mother Teresa. Simple? Huh? And that's what I mean, you know. You have to be able to appreciate other people's problems. Of course we do, but usually it's family. Usually your auntie's sick, so you're going to look after her, or somebody in the family has got incurable disease, maybe cancer, and you give some money to help. But I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about, she didn't know who the people were who were dying. She just went on the streets and saw people dying, and she had them picked up, brought to her Ashadan, and looked after them till they died. So this is empathy, an ability to be able to look at other people's problems without them being related to you. Okay? Right. Okay. The next one, delegation. I'd like to ask a question here on delegation. What do you think, sir, is delegation?
Delegation means believing your people and then enabling them to do the work.
Yeah, believing in your people and enabling them to do their work. You delegate. A good leader must delegate. And the best leader I have read about, I never met him, I would love to have met him, was one of my boyhood heroes. Next slide. John F. Kennedy. Kennedy was asked by a reporter one day. He said, Mr. Kennedy, sir, President, sir, you run America, and I would like to he said, no, 1 minute, young man, I do not run America. He said, sir, you're the chief executive, you're president, you run America. He said, no, I do not run America. He said, then what do you run, sir? Lights, keep the lights up. Lights full, bright. Yeah. What do you run, sir, then? He said, I run my cabinet of about 50 people are my cabinet, and they all have different portfolios. And he said, I run my cabinet. My job is to run the cabinet, and the cabinet's job is to run the country. And therefore, though he was a leader, and people thought, my God, Kennedy runs America, he said, no, I don't. But I do inspire my people to run America, and I give them goals, and I check on them. But I don't need to run steel, I don't need to run the auto industry, I don't need to run the health industry. They do that. I give them goals, we discuss them, and then they go ahead, and then of course I check on them. But that is the way what good delegation is, to give someone a task, give him a goal, give him the infrastructure that he needs, maybe it's money, maybe it's people, whatever, and then give him a time limit, and after that check whether he's doing it or not, and that is good delegation. In India, I remember I was running the film department of Lintas, one of the biggest advertising agencies in India. And at that time I was only the films chief, advertising films chief. And I had two guys working for me. One was called Narayan Swami and the other was called just Swami. And Narayan Swami was the head of the department, and he was going on leave. And he said to me, Mr. Padamsee, you know, I'm going on leave, I've got to go, you know, down south to my native state, and I'll be there for some time because my mother is ill, and so if you don't mind, you can give me 3 months leave, I will make it up when I come back. I said, yes, okay, fine, I understand. He said, one thing, sir. I said, what? He said, sir, how to tell you? I said, tell me, don't worry, tell me. Doors are closed, nobody can hear. It's confidential. He said, yes. He said, sir, when I'm away for 3 months, you know, my assistant, Mr. Swami, please, sir, while I'm away, don't let Mr. Swami dig my grave. I said, dig your grave? What do you mean? No, sir. While I'm away, you see, he will take over, he'll be running the department, you see, instead of me. And then, if he keeps telling you, look, I'm running it so much better than Mr. Narayan Swami, then when I come back, you might have no use for me. So he's digging my grave. Now, this is a very bad thing that happens in India. Everyone is terrified that the person below them, am I right, might take over your job, right? Is that true or false? We all know it secretly. We won't admit it, but we know it. It's not a good thing. If you train someone to take over your job, means you have the ability to be a leader. And even if he takes your job, you will offer a much better job, not maybe in the same company, but in another company. Because you've shown that you have leadership qualities to train people. And believe you me, if India needs anything today, it is trainers who will train the next generation. Yes, they're 25-year-olds, 24-year-olds, 21-year-olds, who maybe are better qualified, but not necessarily have the experience. In a meeting some years ago, a young boy, he was about 20 years old, he said, I have a gut feel, sir, that what we're doing is wrong. I said, young man, what is your gut feel based on? How many years have you been doing this work?